That'll do, donkey. That'll do.
I was trying to be professional. Hello, and welcome to Basements, Faults, and Catapults. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron.
And I'm Trevor.
And here we're going to be looking at games, genres, and the things that we enjoy in gaming.
And to do that, we're going to randomly select a genre each episode.
Yeah, we're going to give a brief rundown of that genre, what it means to us.
And then we'll select 2 games. One of these games will be something we want to catapult into glory, while the other will be cast into the fault lines, riddling our basement lair. The catch and what we hope will be the fun part is that neither of us will have played, or at least played heavily, the titles the other has selected.
Yeah, so we're going to take those titles, the good, the bad, the best, the worst. We're going to divide them up. One of us will get the good, one of us will get the bad. We'll give it an hour of playtime. We'll meet back up and we'll chat about our experiences.
That's when we'll give our own opinions of the other's game, celebrate where we agree, and refrain from murdering each other where we disagree. After all, not everyone can have a perfect opinion.
Joe, and that's it. We hope that you'll join us, listen in, maybe be inspired to try a few of the titles along the way, or, let us exactly know why exactly our opinions are trash.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for joining us, and remember, you either die a Goku or live long enough to become a Roshi.
Roshi had it pretty good. I don't, that's not a threat to me.
see, but like when Roshi was younger, he was like this really renowned fighter, right?
Yeah. I know the Roshi.
Participated in the world, but the whole thing with Goku, like you've heard you die the hero or you live long enough to become the villain. I like to say you either die a Goku, you either die, young and spry and happy and full of energy and life and fighting the good fight, or you live long enough to become a Roshi, basically a perverted hermit that is all alone.
Listen, I'm not saying the way Master Roshi interacted with women was correct.
I'm getting that on a t-shirt though, by the way.
Which...
you either die a Goku or live long enough to become a Roshi.
Didn't Master Roshi die?
No, Master Roshi's still around.
Because I just remember he had that, because I don't know what they're in now, but like there's that huge, big interdimensional galactic tournament.
Oh, yeah.
And he does the fight, and he's like, remember, boys, this is the hermit way. And then he like Kamehamehas or something, and it doesn't go well for him.
No, I think he survived. I mean, he gets knocked out of the tournament for sure. But no one was allowed to die in that tournament. That was one of the rules. If you kill someone, you are disqualified.
Oh.
Yeah. The Tournament of the 7 Universes or whatever the heck it is. Yeah. That was Dragon Ball Super. If you haven't watched it and you had any inkling to watch Dragon Ball at any point in your life, Dragon Ball Super, kind of fun. It's definitely trash anime, but it's great. I love it.
My latest trash anime has been, I've promised myself, and I keep promising myself, and I keep letting myself down, and then I try again, is to get into One Piece.
Oh.
So I restarted it last week, and like some people are like, well, just start where you remember being left off. And it's like, I can't. My brain won't let me do that. I have to start at episode 1. I have to.
Episode 325 was where I left off.
I don't even remember. I don't remember episode numbers. All I remember is they were on the island with the 2 giants.
Oh, okay. I think that maybe I'll restart it too, because I watched the live action adaptation and I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I've heard like it's not perfect, but
it's freaking great.
I've heard good things.
No, it is great.
Yeah,
no, it is one of the best. I would say it is the best live action adaptation of any anime.
That's a big one.
High production value. Very good.
I know. I couldn't stand the Avatar one.
Oh, the new one or the M. Night Shyamalan?
We don't talk about the movie. The movie never happened.
Okay. M. Night Shyamalan. Don't
do. Anyway, yeah, but the live action one I really disliked.
Really?
Yeah.
But I thought they perfect casting for Iroh.
I'm not going to like their casting choices. Amazing.
Yeah.
The actors and the actresses, they did a fantastic job with their roles.
What do you think of the CG?
The CG wasn't terrible, right?
Okay.
And when you're talking about, bending, you're doing a lot of CG work.
Bend it like Beckham.
They
should have cast Beckham in one of the roles as a
just
bender.
Like a little cameo Easter egg.
Yeah, what a missed opportunity.
Have you ever heard Beckham talk?
Oh, yes, he has a bit of a helium voice, doesn't he?
It's this high, like, he doesn't open his mouth. It's this very... Wasn't
there a Deadpool thing where it was like he
mouth sexed a bottle of helium?
Thinged a bottle of helium?
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's David Beckham. How are you doing?
It's not that high, but it's higher than you would think. Looking at Mr. Beckham.
Hey, you know what? If a guy can play well,
and no,
I don't care what he sounds like.
No disrespect to Mr. Beckham.
No,
he plays soccer
Beckham
at a level that I will never be able to emulate.
Yeah, we love the guy.
It's just I wouldn't want him in my movie or TV show.
You can always alter people's voices.
Oh yeah, get it done in post.
Yeah,
ADR,
in post.
ADR that.
Just do it in post. Yeah,
just fix it in post.
Totally.
I have opinions about that. Anyway.
Well, on that note,
if you're just joining us, welcome. Very happy to have you. If you're an re-listener, you know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
We're about to pull up our very fancy random number generator.
Yeah, we're on episode 24.
Which is very exciting, and we're very happy to have you join us.
We are. And we're going to change up our format a little bit on the fifth episode, every fifth episode, so episode 25 in this case.
Yeah.
We're going to break away, and I think we kind of decided, I think we're going to look at more of the current events, current games.
What's happening.
What's hot, what's happening.
Yeah.
And because there's like 5 weeks between, we should always have a little something to kind of talk about.
Yeah. And we're also going to start incorporating more live streams into our schedules.
Yes.
You're listening to this now, but the reality is the way recording and releasing works. A little bit behind the scenes here, people. We're actually tomorrow going to be live streaming 7 Days to Die.
7 Days to Die.
But by the time you're listening to this, that stream will have already happened.
Yes, and
let us know what you thought about it, though. That'd be awesome. We love feedback.
Absolutely, we love it. We don't get enough of the feedback, so
yeah, we live for attention.
And if you're a practical joker and you just want to send us a recording of like feedback, like mic feedback, I would laugh at that.
Yeah.
I will take any kind of feedback at this point.
I would block you after.
Yeah, you may get banned.
But there'd be a moment. Anyway, yes.
Also, I'm going to be present. I do spend some time in VR, and I think I might foray my dancing skills into VR chat this weekend. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
See how it goes. And also, I haven't made any solid plans yet, but Trevor will be attending the Calgary Comic Expo.
Yes.
We'll have more information about that as it comes, but, if you see him, say hi.
Yeah, you know what? I'll probably, print off some, little things for our podcast and try to, spread it around. Not like a jerk where I'm just, stuffing it in people's face. But if we get talking about it, I'll be like, hey, interesting, yeah. And I've already got my tickets for OdaFest as well.
There you go.
I've got to book all my hotels and stuff still, but I'm going to try to sign us up for a panel to host. So last I checked, they weren't allowing signups yet. So
okay, well, he'll keep me posted. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah, I'd love to do an anime themed episode.
Oh, would that be fun?
Yeah.
We joke, we'll never do an anime game, but we're both really into anime. So.
I mean, dude, if we host a podcast at an anime convention, we're
gonna
have to be obligated to do it. And
yeah.
I was thinking we live record it with audience participation, and we just have fun with it. Well, that would be so cool. A live recorded podcast episode.
There we go. Yeah.
Who are we? We're nobody. But here we go.
But here we are. But that's then. This is now. And now is I have a dice. I'm going to roll that dice. The number on the dice tells Trevor how many times he's going to hit the button on the generator.
Yeah.
And that will give us our genre.
And I'm going to and my next advance is to convert that into a macro so that we don't actually we'll just put what the number on the die is and hit calculate and it will loop just through it automatically number of times.
Let me tell you, cutting edge over here.
Cutting edge.
ChatGPT, Gemini, watch out.
Yeah, Gemini, you got nothing on me.
Nothing. The number is lucky 13.
Oh no, 13. You know what that means.
No. Stretch before you click that many times, my dude.
Okay.
Hey, retro.
Okay. We got retro.
Retro.
Now, retro doesn't have to mean old. It just has to be in that retro style.
Yeah, which means that I'm going to make you play a retro FPS.
Oh.
Wait, is it your turn to get the bad game?
You know what? I think it is.
It is.
Yeah, you got Sphere Flying Cities
right.
last time, and I got Manor Lords, which
So now I have to find a bad retro.
I have been playing Manor Lords quite a bit.
Yeah?
Damn, it's hard because the other kind of lords can expand a lot more quickly than you can.
Yeah, because their computers are optimized.
They're cheaters.
They're AI cheats.
AI cheats, and AI is not your friend.
We've had this talk before, people, but
Right?
it's serious.
So I get to pick you a good retro game. Oh boy, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, what are you thinking?
Oh
Because
man,
retro's interesting because it can be anything, right? It can be a retro FPS, it can be a retro RTS, it can be a retro RPG. There's the limitless, because retro is done in a style of gaming that is no longer modern.
yeah, and dude, did you ever play Space Quest 6?
No.
Dude, you never played Space? I mean, I know it's kind of really actually retro.
Yeah, this isn't retro. This is historic.
I would love for you to play Space Quest 6.
Then that's the game I'm playing.
If you've never played it before, I'm so fond of it. Now, it's a text-based,
Well, I played some of the Space Quest series.
yeah. For me, 6 was definitely the best. You can probably find it online.
Already
It's
got it.
probably on a, do you?
Yeah. Space Quest 6, Roger Wilco, and the Spinal Frontier.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
My favorite game in this style was Full Throttle by the now defunct LucasArts video game company.
Oh yeah, I have Full Throttle on my Steam list.
I have it on my good old games list.
I like it. This is the challenge with us though, is like you and I have a very similar upbringing when it comes to our exposure to games. And so we've played a lot of the same retro or old games that exist.
Quite a few, yeah.
Last time I had you play Cosmic Osmo. That was
Which
kind of an 80s game.
It was
right?
fun. I enjoyed Cosmic. Like, it wasn't anything difficult or like immersive, but it was this beautiful world that you just kind of rolled around in, and it was really chill.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? No. Hold on. Space Quest 6 is not the one that I loved. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
Wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
Wait a minute. Am I getting my numbers mixed? Oh, I got my Final Fantasy. See, remember Final Fantasy 3 and 6 are reversed?
Yeah, because of North American audiences, but yeah.
It's actually Space Quest 3.
Space 3.
Space Quest 3. There's got to be like an online.
Oh, yeah. I'll find it. Got it.
Yeah.
The Pirates of Pestulon.
Yes, because I was like the Spinal Frontier. That doesn't make sense. I don't remember that being the one. No, okay, so yeah, no, sorry. That's totally my bad.
I forgot the game. I forgot because I played the original Space Quest. I played Space Quest,
Yes.
but that's it.
Okay. Space Quest 1 was challenging. It was interesting. It was very Hugo's House of Horrors.
Oh yeah. Loved Hugo's House of Horrors.
Yeah.
I've played Hugo's House of Horrors, Hugo's House of Horrors 2, where you play as the girlfriend and you're looking for Hugo this time.
Oh, yes.
And then Hugo's House of Horrors 3, where you're in like Africa.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the one I beat.
Okay.
I never beat 1 or 2, but I beat 3.
You and I should stream Hugo's House of Horrors one of these days.
And there was a WAD. And for those of you not familiar with WADs were map packs and overwrites for Doom
That brings me back.
that replaced weapon like skins. Like you could put anything into the Doom engine and have it as a WAD. And there was a Hugo's House of Horrors WAD. So you're running around collecting keys and shooting the bad it was a FPS Hugo's House of Horrors.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I remember the WADs. I remember somebody did like an anime girl in WAD at one point. Like, why?
Oh, it was called Nightmare 3D, Hugo's House of Horrors.
Nightmare 3D. Oh, okay, cool.
I
like that. So Space Quest 3, The Pirates of Pestulon, is a 1989 graphic adventure game, of course, by Sierra Online. Sierra, one of my all-time favorite gaming companies that unfortunately got completely wiped and killed and destroyed by Blizzard Activision. So, so players assume the role of Roger Wilco, and if you know, Roger Wilco is actually one of the very first voice apps that were available, I believe around 1997, for people who were playing Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six back in the day.
Yep.
I was a big Roger Wilco audio fan. That was before the days of Ventrilo and TeamSpeak and Mumble. Before all of those, we had Roger Wilco. And so Roger Wilco is a lowly space janitor who becomes involved in rescuing a pair of computer programmers from a sinister video game company.
Yeah.
The game received positive reviews from critics and contributed further to the series' commercial success for Sierra. So yeah, Space Quest 3. It's one of my favorites. It is challenging. Even the first like 15, 20 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
You're going to die a lot.
Yeah. And if you, Space Quest, I remember Space Quest specifically. There was a data disk you had to get in the first level of the game, if you will.
Yeah.
If you didn't get that data disk, you would play the entire game, get to the very end, and lose.
One of the great things that I loved about Space Quest 3 is that it has if once you get to it's basically like the Space McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have a video game inside the video game called Astro Chicken, and it's just like an arcade game that's and it's actually a fully fleshed out little mini game within the game. And this was one of the first games that I can recall having mini games within a game. I'm sure it was done before, but like the game within the game, gameception, as it were. And so, yeah, I really loved Space Quest 3. I mean, it is an old game. It's 1989, so, be kind. Yeah, reviewers back in the day gave it really high reviews, like 4 out of 5, 83%. By today's standards, it definitely won't hold up, but it's one of my fondest games in the Space Quest series, and I just love it. And it's funny because there's this guy. See this guy?
Yeah.
So it's funny because the way this alien dresses, and this is just kind of like a little weird fun fact. My great grandfather,
Dressed like that?
Charlie,
Charlie.
dressed like that and kind of looked like that.
Oh no!
Yeah, I mean, he had like all the stubble and the really bad teeth and like, yeah. I mean, he definitely wasn't an alien, but he had like from this kind of the head, the mouth down. That's what my great grandfather kind of looked like when he was like 80, 80 years old. And so I don't know. I always was fond of this game, and yeah, you may not feel the same. But
we're about to find out.
But this was a top-rated game in 1989. This is one of the best games of 1989.
Yeesh.
I will say this though, for your enjoyment, you are free to look up walkthroughs.
Oh no!
If you have to,
I'm gonna get through at least. I'm gonna play 30 minutes at least.
I'm gonna say if you get murdered by the robot with the laser more than 3 times,
like the spider robot from the first one.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But if you get murdered by the laser, you'll know what I'm talking about when you get there. If you get murdered by the laser more than 2 or 3 times, please look up a spoiler on how to get it. Because that one part is probably the hardest part of the game, and it's within the first 15, 20 minutes of the game.
Boo.
So, but it is kind of a puzzle. Like these old games, you had to kind of feel your way around and figure it out.
Yeah.
It wasn't as intuitive as games nowadays because you had to go like climb thing or look at thing or climb down ladder or climb up ladder, or grab the thing or push the button. Like you had to type it in. And so it's a very different way of gaming that kids nowadays would not know how to play a game like that because it requires you to actually think and type in commands and explore the world using prompts, which is
and
very
you
unique.
dying was part of the game in a lot of these. Like you were expected to die, reload your save. They called that scum saving?
Yeah, scum saving. Please scum save this game as often as possible.
Oh yeah, no, don't you worry about me. I'm gonna
fill that hard drive up with saves.
I'm gonna scum save like nobody business. I'm a scum saver.
So what kind of retro hot garbage are you gonna throw my way today?
I don't know. I'm currently doing the old Steam scroll to the bottom of user reviews and see what trash I get.
I like it.
I've asked for retro games or retro as the tag. There are some things, of course, that again, Steam's good for a lot of things, but they're not as good on their shall we call it their tags as they should be.
That's fair. I just wish listed the entire Space Quest collection.
Amazing.
Because you know what? As much as it's a waste of time to go back and play games that I've already beaten or played so many times, there's a certain feeling that I get when I get to relive that moment when I was like 11 or 12 years old playing a game, and I get that like recall, that memory recall that makes me feel like a young person again.
Arcade waifu.
What?
Wow, they are using oh buddy, you better not be charging $1.30 because I recognize some of these characters from actual games, so
Okay. They must be
you do not have a license.
yeah.
Or are they just different enough? Let's look at your Futabi knockoff from the Persona series.
I'm definitely getting into Persona. I bought Persona 5. I'm going to play it.
I love the Persona series, man. I've loved the Persona series for years.
I have a lot of work stuff to do this weekend, but if I have some time, I might start Persona.
Oh, and sometime next week, you and I are doing filming, aren't we?
I would love to, yes. I think it might be hard to get our schedules aligned, but we'll talk about it. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Next week, I'm actually free.
Are you free?
Yeah, other than, like, I just have my...
I'm free Monday and Tuesday night.
I'm just, other than my contractor nonsense, but that's, whatever.
I'm free Monday, Tuesday night. We'll supply dinner.
We'll supply dinner.
We'll supply dinner. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay. I've got 2.
You got 2. Okay.
So
lay it on me.
What you, of course, are always allowed to I'll give you the 2 options, and you can kind of pick from there.
You're so kind.
Thank you. I mean, they look like trash. You might actually be down to 1 because this one is $113.
What?
So
that's a refund waiting to happen.
Yeah.
How is it a bad game for $113? It's got to be a scam.
It's got to be a scam.
It's got to be a scam. So what's the other one?
But one was a horror game.
Okay.
Like kind of like Outlast or any of those. The Japanese market is filled with these little horror games that they develop, which is kind of cool because it kind of pays homage to the 90s and early 2000s horror movies that were coming out of Japan at the time.
Yeah, Japan does horror very well.
Which is, there's something in the psyche. I
think so.
Oh, did you watch that little video short I sent you on the Discord?
I don't know.
To spread the glory of the Empire of Japan.
Oh, yes, I did.
Did people like that? No, they were very unhappy about it.
Yeah, the Mitsubishi. I like this guy. Youth
Pastor Ryan. Yeah, shout outs, man.
He's fun.
You're a funny dude.
He's fun. Him and Pirate Software. Thor. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Thor from Pirate Software.
Love those guys.
Yeah. I've been following Magic the Gathering has always been kind of like a thing that I'm like, this could be cool.
Yeah. I have a coworker that's like hardcore MTG.
But I'm bad at it. So like
he hardly ever plays anymore. He just like buys and sells cards constantly all the time.
Like there's a market there. It's not a good market.
It's a little interesting. Yeah,
okay.
I find it interesting.
Do you want to play kind of a puzzle solver a la Myst?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you want to play a kind of top-down sort of Link knockoff?
Ooh. Puzzler.
The Puzzler? Okay.
Yeah.
You, my friend, are playing Sherlock Holmes, The Mystery of the Mummy.
Mystery of the Mummy? Let's see. Sherlock Holmes, The Mystery of the Mummy, The Hunt for Moriarty, The Devil's Daughter. Wow, there's so many of these.
Yeah. The Sherlock Holmes franchise is one of those, like, it's in the public domain, and unfortunately, certain people have taken that and not given it the love it deserves.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Take on the role of Sherlock Holmes. Get ready to avoid numerous traps and solve riddles. A mysterious murder, numerous suspects, and the famous mummy for a case that appears to be not that easy. Mostly negative reviews. November 2008 by Frogwares. Interesting. Can't review the game. It has a bug so the mouse won't work. I can probably get past that. Frustrating controls, illogical puzzles. I mean, it's elementary, my dear Watson. So, all right. I like it.
All right. So, Why don't you quickly give us a brief overview of King's Quest or Space Quest 3?
Yeah. So Space Quest, like I said, Roger Wilco, released 1989, Sierra. It is essentially you have crashed your ship on kind of a giant universal garbage scow. And you've got to get your ship repaired so that you can kind of move on with your thing. Now, you're a janitor.
Yeah.
So you're kind of a space janitor. You clean stuff. But yeah, you've kind of come off of space. I believe the storyline is you've kind of come off of from Space Quest 2, and now you've crashed your ship. And yeah, so your goal is you're being, I believe at one point you're being hunted by a cybernetic assassin that's trying to kill you.
What?
And it's probably for something that you did back in Space Quest 2. These games were notorious for being like, hey, remember that thing you did? Yeah, now there's an assassin after you.
Guess what?
Yeah, so there's actually like a part in the game where you're on another planet and you have to avoid this assassin, and it is hard to avoid the assassin. He will kill you if you don't have the right items and objects. To be honest, I don't really understand the goal of the game other than you are following Roger Wilco in his kind of a tragic life as a space janitor.
Yeah, he's what we like to call a pathetic figure.
Yeah.
Like you feel bad for him.
Yeah.
But there's humor there.
But there's a lot of things I really like in the game. I think there's it's this kind of adventure. Really, I think it falls more under an adventure game than anything else. There are definitely challenges to solve and puzzles to solve, and I think that's something that a lot of games are lacking nowadays. Like when you go into a game like Doom, Eternal, and you're like, I'm gonna shoot stuff, and then you're like, what's next? I'm gonna shoot more stuff, right?
I just keep shooting.
Yeah, like even what's that new game?
Oh, you tell me.
Where we're fighting for democracy.
Oh,
Helldivers.
Which there's some stuff going on there.
But even Helldivers, it's like shoot some stuff, blow some stuff up. What do we do next? Shoot some more stuff, blow some more stuff up. There's not really any challenge to that per se. I mean, you get overwhelmed by bugs or bots, sure. But I miss the day where you had to like actually critically think about your environment and how to interact with it in order to get to the next part of the game.
Yeah.
And that each part of the game is a different problem to be solved. Yeah, I love it. So I hope you enjoy it. I think it should be good.
I'm looking forward to it. I just gotta get through the nonsense, if you will.
The nonsensical nonsense of Nonsense Land. Yes. I also will have some nonsense to get through because apparently this game crashes immediately on any modern computer.
Got a good old DOS box.
I'll solve it. I'll solve it.
You'll figure it out.
If it doesn't crypto lock my PC, I will solve it.
Don't lock.
Yes.
I mean, it's distributed through Steam, so arguably they would have done their due diligence, and there's no like double file extension hidden.
Oh yeah, the mouse is glitchy. Wow.
Whoop, baby.
That's fun. Yeah, I will have to check out the community guides to like make the mouse work. They are not lying when they said that.
Do you think this was meant as a mobile game or?
No. This isn't Windows 98.
Oh God.
Yeah, like when 2008 November. So Windows 98 Millennium 2000. This was before any of that.
Have you tried running it in compatibility mode?
You might have to. Yeah, the mouse is basically, it works, but it kind of glitches around. But here's their system requirements to just date this game a little bit. It requires a Pentium 2 350 megahertz. 64 megabytes of RAM. I have 64 gigabytes.
I was supposed to say megabyte. You used to get that in cereal.
It requires an 8 megabyte graphics card, which I have a 24 gigabyte graphics card.
Yeah.
And a 130 megabyte free on your hard drive, which back when I had my 286, I only had a 150 meg hard drive. So that's actually a pretty big game for what it is. Yeah, Frogwares is out of Ireland. Interesting. They're a little bit of a wee Irish game, aren't they? A little bit of the wee Irish.
You can stop that.
Come on. Come on. You don't like the Hollywood stereotypical Irish?
Irish.
A wee spot of whiskey for the little Irish boy. I like it. I gotta go to Ireland. I love traveling, and Ireland is on my list. So I'm gonna try to get this game working. how's your game working going?
It's going. I'm learning the controls. Oh,
That was indeed fun.
I'm still mad about falling off the ship.
Yeah?
I mean, like, mad is a little much, but yeah, I'm still grumpy about it.
I'm gonna make me grumpy about it.
I'm grumpy about it.
Yeah.
So you had to go and find like some dirty hacks to make your game work, eh?
Oh my god. This is one of the problems of playing old games. Sometimes they just don't really do what you need them to do.
You gotta future-proof them sometimes, guys.
So I played Sherlock Holmes and the Mystery of the Mummy.
Ba, ba, ba.
Mummy!
Mother!
Mother!
Well, why don't you tell me about Sherlock Holmes and the Mystery of the Mummy?
All right, so Sherlock Holmes is deployed to a mansion of sorts.
Yeah.
The butler kind of lets him in, and he's investigating this mystery of the mummy. There's a curse. There's a curse. There's a curse in the mummy.
All right.
But basically, you got a letter. You get a letter from this archaeologist's daughter that says, "I need your help. You need to figure out what's going on. He brought this mummy into the house. And now he's disappeared, and you have to find him. What's happening, right?" Personally, I think he's just dressed up like a mummy.
Oh,
and like
Scooby-Dooing?
freaking people out, Scooby-Dooing. But I don't know if I'll find out. The game, November 1st, 2008. So let's rewind. So the first Myst game was like 1995-ish?
Sounds right.
Something around that. And the graphics were quite good for its time. It was kind of fun.
Huge. 93.
93, yeah. So now let's take you back to when computer monitors were a standard resolution of, if you were lucky, 800 by 600.
They were these big, bulky CRT things. Like, oh, yeah.
So these games, a lot of these games were designed to run 800 by 600. This game is definitely like a 640 by 480 or an 800 by 600 resolution game. That being said, it's very hard to discern objects because this would have been, the game itself is a 3D rendered space that has been rendered into effectively a two-dimensional graphic that allows you to kind of move around a 3D space, but like by viewing it as a two-dimensional flat surface. When you move, it just takes you to the next kind of area in that 2D space. So while it may have used some 3D, some version of 3D rendering at the time, which would have been extremely taxing on the systems at the time, the graphics aren't great. So you get to this house, and you need to start investigating. And, I looked, right away I clicked on the Sphinx, poked its little nose or whatever lack thereof, and a little wall thing opens up. And you're like, oh, a wall thing! And there's little puzzles, and so there's numbers that need to go in there. And so you see that there's all these mummies or sarcophagi that are all spread around throughout the main floor of the house, because all the doors are naturally locked. If it's a puzzle game, every door requires some special thing to get through it, and each of the mummies or sarcophagi have like a date range period. Kind of, this is the era that they're from. And that era that they're from aligns with the initials that are on the puzzle. So you put in some of the dates, and if you get it ended up being the last date. So it's like a date range, like 2000 to 1800. And so I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe it's a math problem. So I tried 200. Nope, that's not it. I tried 2000. Nope, that's not it. It's just 1800. It's just the last number for each of the kind of dynasties matched up, and boom, you unlock it, and you get a key. Now you can go through the next door.
Okay.
And so this just kind of progresses throughout the game. Find the way to unlock the thing to get the key to go to the next space. You start getting like some Egyptian seals, like the seal of Anubis, the seal of Thought, and all these other things, and Set and whatever else.
Thought, the Egyptian god of, I want to say knowledge, not thought as in you a thought.
Yeah, not that hottie over there.
Not that hoe over there,
Yeah. I mean, ho, hottie, whatever.
Yeah, ho, hottie, it's all the same.
Ho hum. So, anyway, so the graphics are really bad. But it is a puzzler. It's a pretty standard puzzler. But to get the game working.
Yeah.
So, okay, it took me about 20 minutes. The DirectX 9 that it ships with is no good. So you have to use this third-party program to basically bind the mouse to the screen And that's even kind of jank and doesn't really work that well. Like, for example, the mouse sometimes doesn't get all the way to the right side of the screen or the left side of the screen or the top or the bottom. And you have to get to the side of the screen to rotate your view. Now, if you swing the mouse quickly to the left and then quickly to the right, it kind of corrects the problem. So early games had drivers that controlled your mouse. And since these games were released, and this was like a 1998 or Windows 98 style game, it definitely doesn't live up to games from that era. I can go back and play just about any game from 2008, and it's going to run extremely well. I don't think this is really a 2008 game. I think it's been released as a 2008 game. I think this game was developed around 93 or 94.
Okay.
So yeah, the mouse is glitchy, but as a puzzle game, I mean, it has the puzzle elements. You know, I have a hammer. I can use the hammer to open a box. I have a screwdriver. I can break a lock with the screwdriver somehow. This lock is rusty. Put some oil on it. So I think that as far as puzzler games go, I really love puzzler games.
Yeah. No, I mean, puzzle games are fun.
I want to get your help to solve the VR Myst one of these days. But
Myst, I still remember that stupid minecart at the very end. You had to navigate the minecart by the amount of times the bells rang or stuff.
Yeah.
Still remember that, and I still know I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, Myst was a very cerebral game. This game is trying to kind of maybe duplicate that a little bit, but it's not very cerebral. The very simple puzzles. I did, just because for time, I did pull up a walkthrough to kind of find what I was missing, and apparently there was a seal that was in the bottom of the potted plant that I'd missed, and that's why I couldn't open the one door.
Oh god, I hate that nonsense.
And that's fine, though. It's just that the graphics are so old and don't work well at any kind of resolution that I couldn't discern the dirt from the seal, so I kind of missed it, because I looked at the potted plant earlier in the game. It's also very hard to navigate because your mouse kind of jumps all around, and the mouse speed is too quick, the scroll speed in the game is too quick, there's no settings to adjust for it. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, yeah, it's a puzzler game.
Yeah.
But it's not really all that great. I think that when it was developed, it was probably developed as an entry-level puzzler. The puzzles aren't really difficult.
Yeah.
So they're not really rewarding. There's a balance, because if a puzzle is too difficult, like the VR Myst that I'm playing, it's not intuitive enough for the average person to solve it. It becomes more of a niche thing.
Yeah.
And I would argue games like Myst are niche. Most people will not enjoy them.
No.
Unless you like puzzlers. So the games that are puzzlers like this are typically not designed for your average Joe. This game was designed for just about any kid could probably figure it out and figure out the puzzles. And I think, there's that balance to be struck. If it's too easy, adults will find it boring. Kids might like it. If it's too hard, people might just hate it.
Mm-hmm.
This game was pretty on the too easy side.
Yeah.
Not a lot of imagination or inventiveness. Puzzles. Yeah. Myst was always, I remember Myst as being very inventive, where there were some easier puzzles, but there were also some more difficult ones you had to solve by really, really putting two and two together to solve something. Especially if you didn't have a walkthrough for it. Although, fun fact. When I got Myst, which I think I got it in probably around 93, 94, I picked up a copy of Myst and I was playing it. And I remember getting a copy of PC Gamer magazine that had a Myst walkthrough in it. And I remember not needing to use it often, but that there were some puzzles that as a child, it was very challenging to solve. I did rely on the walkthrough a little bit, but fun fact, because back in the day, you could go and find a PC Gamer magazine that would have things like walkthroughs and all these things that were common for modern games. I'm pretty sure if I went to a bookstore right now and looked for a Elden Ring strategy guide, I probably wouldn't be able to find one on the shelf, because I don't think that strategy guides are as common now because of the internet.
No, 100%. The internet, yeah.
So that's cool. I like it. So I'm going to get right into ratings.
Yeah, let's do it.
So graphics and art. It says the game was released I'm pretty sure it said released in 2008. I'm going to double check that. Yeah, it says November 1st, 2008. Not a chance. I mean, maybe it's possible, because I think the 3D rendering that they did in this game probably wasn't possible back in the early 90s. At least not with a huge, amount of money and resources.
Mm-hmm.
But for a 2008 game, the graphics are pretty terrible. The texture resolutions, the screen resolutions, the environment resolutions, pretty terrible. So as far as graphics, and the artwork is indiscernible because the graphics are so terrible. Like the art itself, I think the aesthetic that they were going for, I'll give them some credit for, but because of the choice of whatever they chose to represent that was that this 2D version of a 3D rendered environment, it just doesn't work. So the graphics and art in this game are probably like a 2.5. They're not great. They're pretty bad. The music and audio, very bland. There's a point where, you walk up to a mirror and a mummy like, and then like runs away and closes the door. and the doors just close automatically. Like the hands don't grab the door and pull the door closed, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, come on, guys. We had Unreal Tournament 2004. This could have been done in a game engine, but I digress. The audio is kind of meh, very like Egyptian-y, like the flutes, and it was very Egyptian, Hollywood Egyptian, right?
Okay.
But it was pretty bad. Wasn't great. Probably like a 4.
Like a 4.
Like a 4.
Like a 4.
It's like a 4.
Yeah, right.
The gameplay, oh my god, the gameplay was so bad. Yeah, like a 3. Overall, in the gameplay, your mouse switches to like a little magnifying glass when there's something that you can get info on, and it kind of switches when there's things to solve. It doesn't really highlight for you what objects are interactable or not interactable.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of have to guess, like, this box, there's like 8 boxes, and one of the boxes happens to react to the hammer, but you got to go to your inventory, grab the hammer, and hover over the boxes.
One?
You got to kind of hover over the boxes for it to highlight anything. So you'd have to go through all the items in your inventory to see if it reacts with anything. Now, it's not that unintuitive. The way that the screen jerks from left, right, and top to bottom, because it's an older game and modern mouse and yada yada, it's very hard to navigate. It's not clear where you can click to move, like to go forward or backwards. It's kind of like you're constantly just smashing the mouse button to try to find a way to move to the next part of the scene. So I think overall, like, the interface is janky, the gameplay is kind of janky.
Don't love that.
Yeah, I see what they were going for.
Yeah.
But every other puzzle game just does it better.
Yeah.
And like, World's better. Right?
World's better. That is, that's a...
Yeah. So 3 out of 10 for gameplay.
That's an indictment.
Oh yeah, it's an indictment. Like, these guys need to do some time. Probably just
Need to do some time.
Yeah, do some time studying,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get that.
I don't know. I think that if this was 2008 and this was my
2008.
and this was my first game,
It's your very first game
that I produced,
that you're okay.
I'd be happy with it.
Yeah.
As a game developer, as my first game, as my first foray into something to build a puzzler, it has all the right elements. It has all the components. It has all the pieces. It's just that the technical execution of turning that into a game is lacking. And I think that's just whoever the developers were in this game didn't have the experience in order to execute it well.
Yeah, which is a shame.
I think that executed differently, this could be a more fun game, but the puzzles weren't engaging. The lore isn't engaging.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of stuff to read. If you go and play a really good puzzler like a Riven,
like a Riven or a Mist or something like that. Yeah.
You just compare the two, and this doesn't even like you say. People will use the saying, "This doesn't even hold a candle to it."
Yeah,
this takes the gasoline, pours it on itself, and then lights the candle and lights itself on fire and immolates itself. Which self-immolation. Yeah, that was in the letter at the beginning. Basically, that's what happened to her dad. He like lit himself on fire.
Oh, he lit himself on. So now he's running around wrapped up in bandages.
He's probably got 3rd-degree burns, right?
Yeah.
This is entirely possible. So anyway, gameplay 3 out of 10, and for fun, I'll be honest, I actually have a bit of a headache from playing this game because the graphics are so bad for modern monitors. I think if this wasn't on an old CRT, 640 by 480, it would have been fine to play.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah. And, while LCD and OLED technology has gone really cool and is doing a lot of really neat resolutions and things, The one thing CRT did very well was it ran things natively extremely well on like their sort of picture to picture IQ.
Yeah, yeah. And it's actually funny because on a CRT monitor, you didn't have to worry about anti-aliasing because it was already fuzzy.
Yeah.
Right? So it kind of cleaned up the edges for you just based on how the electrons excited the screen.
Yeah.
Right? So lastly is fun.
Fun?
Yeah, probably like a 1 out of 10.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's just, here's the thing.
Okay.
Even if there were no technical difficulties with the game and the graphics were legible and I could discern the items from the ground, I still would only give this probably like a 4 out of 10 for fun.
Okay. Wow.
And that's just kind of because it's not engaging.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of lore. There's not a lot of intrigue. I think they spent all of their budget on rendering this thing to create a 3D rendered 2D environment. I think that's where they spent all their time and energy on this game.
You hate to hear it.
I think everything else was a second thought, right? And I liked the concept of the how do you get over extremely challenging limitations on graphics cards and CPUs and things of the time, 3D render it, but navigate it in 2D. That's a brilliant technical solution to that problem.
Yeah.
So hats off to them for that.
Yeah, I mean, Myst did it extremely well. You know?
Oh, so well. Yeah.
These gorgeous, lush
Yeah.
3D environments, but you essentially moved screen by screen. It was like walking through paintings.
Yeah, I remember like Cosmogosmo.
Yeah, Cosmogosmo.
Yeah, I had you play that, and
Yeah.
it's kind of a little bit intuitive to how to navigate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know where to click, and that'll take you to a thing and click. This game really struggled with helping you navigate the environment. And that's where I think the struggle, it wasn't so much fun as it was a struggle, right? It's not getting a 0 out of 10 like ET got, but it's definitely getting a 1 out of 10.
Poor ET.
So the general rating on this game is a 2.6.
Which, if we were to hop on the old Metacritic.
Yeah, this one's probably not on Metacritic.
Oh, yeah?
I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised. I don't think more than a few thousand people ever bought this game.
Oh, what was it? Mystery of the Mummy?
Yeah, Mystery of the Mummy.
Oh, hey, it's here. It's here. It's here.
Does
Okay,
it
so
have a
it has a 5.8. However, the most recent review, which was in December 29th of 2020,
Yeah.
gave it a 2.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because this one says, this actually makes more sense. Steam has it listed as released in 2008. It was actually developed and released in 2002. So that makes a little more sense now. And that also makes more sense as to why it doesn't work very nice with modern PCs.
Wow. I'm looking at like legit critics.
Mm-hmm.
Like critics and Cheat Code Central, like they're really giving the old love tug to this because they gave it a 70.
Really?
Yeah, Electric
Wow.
Playground. Do you remember those guys?
Oh yeah.
They gave it a 60.
Wow. I mean, at the time, maybe it was okay.
Yeah, did not age well.
I mean, okay, so going back to 2002, we had a lot of games that it was hard to even develop a game back then.
Yeah, but 2002 was also the year of like, I want to say...
But this is 9 years after Myst.
Yeah, and Age of Mythology was out. What else was out? Metroid Prime, Battlefield 1942.
Yeah.
What else? What else was 2002? I got a list here. Don't think I memorized. Don't think I'm saying this off the top of my head, guys. I got a list.
But here's the thing. So Myst released in 1993.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember when it was released for PC. Probably 94 or 95. It was released on Mac in 93. But this game is 7 to 8 years older than Myst. Myst looked better, played better, felt better, sounded better.
Absolutely.
And the execution of navigating the Myst world 100 times better than this game. So I stand by my rating, 2.6.
As well you should. I don't think you weren't judging it by like the standards of today. You were judging standards of then.
So therefore,
I am
going to throw it. I'm going to feed it to the basement fault.
We need a soundboard where we can have like the sound of like someone getting tossed off a cliff.
Oh yeah,
Like that. Yeah, the Wilhelm scream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. God, the Wilhelm scream, man.
Yeah. Which you know what? They use that exact soundbite in so many movies.
Yeah, well,
every time I hear it, I'm like, "Hey guys, we got to stop using it," because I hear it now all the time.
It's a stock sound, and it's just.
It distracts me from watching the movie at this point.
Oh no, I love the Wilhelm
because it's the exact same tone, speed, pace. It's the exact same soundbite. So that's a fault. That game is we'll toss it into the San Andreas fault. It is just not. It's not a game I would recommend anyone play. Now here's the thing: it's free to play. So if you want to see how bad it is, you can always try it out for yourself. So how about you, my good sir?
How about me?
You played Space Quest 3.
Got to play Space Quest 3, which.
Are you going to break my heart, Aaron?
I'm not going to break your heart. I genuinely, I didn't enjoy it as much as you.
No, I'm sure you didn't.
I did enjoy it. So
I was also like 10 when I played it.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So that the nostalgia. So the Space Quest series is hand in hand with that early genre of gaming, Space Quest, King's Quest. LucasArts really did a lot of them in their studio as well. Tim Schafer cut his teeth on these games. So the whole Hugo's House of Horrors we were talking about earlier, like the whole concept of these games is you have a very limited way at the time because mice, like your mouse, was just sort of becoming something that people were using. Outside of heavy professional situations, right? So mouse and keyboard was still sort of becoming a thing, and the support for mouse and keyboard specifically, right? So games at this time were trying to find ways where you could have a character manipulate the environment, but there weren't a lot of ways to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So a solution that King's Quest, Space Quest, and a lot of the LucasArts games did was just type what you're going to do. This was something that had existed in MUDs and text-based adventures before, so it was a system that everybody kind of knew and understood, but now we're going to give a graphical environment, so instead of being, you see a room, in that room there are 4 torches. Instead, boom, here's the room, there's the 4 torches, go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a way of using existing interaction technology with new sort of environments, and it does it very well. There are frustrating parts, of course, when you say, oh, jump off the belt because you're on a conveyor belt. And the game goes, I'm sorry, what? And you're like, oh, God, jump off conveyor belt.
Yeah. Jump.
Or just jump, right?
Jump, yeah.
Yeah, so like there's moments where you aren't thinking the same way the parser thinks, which speaks to game design because these developers, and I think it was just 2 dudes, had to come up with the various different ways people would try to solve these puzzles. And I think they succeeded more or less. There's a lot of times where it's like, okay, this is how they think you should solve the puzzle, therefore it's the only way to solve the puzzle, which is fine. You're going to run into that in almost any genre in any game, even now.
Yeah.
It feels a little more glaring when you have to physically type it in.
Yeah, and I mean that was, going back to Space Quest, King's Quest, Hugo's House of Horrors, all of these games.
Oh yeah, that's something you'll find in all of these.
That's something that I guess computer gamers at the time would have already been accustomed to.
Yeah.
So they would already have an idea of what commands they can use and what kind of things they can do inside of the game.
Yeah,
and
there'd be shorthand already. You would know if I say look, I'll get the whole room, but if I say look object, it'll zoom in on something.
Yeah. And I think that back then that was very intuitive, but you're right. Nowadays, completely unintuitive because we haven't made games like that in 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. At least.
Yeah. So yeah, and I'm not nitpicking. That was how they did it. That was how it was solved, and it's not. It's an elegant solution for the problem that they had at the time.
I think so.
Right.
Yes.
And even as games sort of evolved past that, they still sort of used the toolkit.
Yeah.
Right. A game comes to mind, Full Throttle.
Yes.
You would right click to change the icon, the hand to grab, the eyes to look,
Yeah.
the mouth to speak, right? Like you're still kind of using that system. It's just now you have a different interface.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of simplified it for you.
Yeah. Or at the very least, removed the guesswork out.
Yeah, I think the old Maniac Mansion.
Oh, Maniac Mansion, yeah.
And then
Day of the Tentacle.
Day of the Tentacle, obviously.
I love Day of the Tentacle.
Where it switched to really point and click, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. And it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable. I'm not going to nitpick it. Oh, well, I am, but I'm not going to drag it through the mud. It was fun. What I really loved about it is computer games at that time were still kind of finding their voice. We're still kind of finding their purpose. So a lot of times these games are done by two dudes in a basement.
Yeah.
Just making something that they loved. So there's jokes and Easter eggs and little things that would never fly today because everything's so copyrighted and corporate.
Yeah.
Like in that ship, now this is a Sierra game. Sierra at the time was a big company.
Mm-hmm.
But, and when I say big, I don't mean multi-million. I mean they made a couple 100,000.
Yep. Yep.
Right? But they did not have the IP for Warner Brothers. They did not have the IP for Star Wars. They did not have the IP for any of these things.
Yeah.
But in that garbage scow where you start off your game, you run across a TIE fighter.
Yeah, there's a TIE fighter.
You run across an Acme rocket.
Yeah.
You run across a Power Ranger-esque mech. Right? So all these cool little Easter eggs that we as gamers love and think are hilarious are in the game.
Yeah, and they'd have been sued for that nowadays.
Yeah.
Disney would be like, how dare you use my IP?
Yeah, exactly. You can't use our shit without giving us some of our cut, right?
Yeah.
Which...
That's not a TIE fighter, that's a fighter.
That's a T fighter.
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly.
TIE stands for Twin Ion Engines.
Yes.
Not the shape.
Yes. If it's a TIE fighter and it's being flown by a hen, what does that make it? No. Nonetheless, I digress.
Anyway, so it's a really cool look at how games used to be made, the design philosophies of those games, and more importantly, the sort of indie spirit that we kind of have lost with the AAA titles. And don't get me wrong, there's still a very strong, thriving indie community.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. But the King's Quest and the Space Quest series were established series. These were big names.
Yeah.
And they still feel very much with that sort of indie spirit, that sort of love of the game and gosh darn everything else.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to long ago, that style of game of typing in what to do and where to go, that actually existed long before games had graphical interfaces.
Yeah. The first MUDs.
Yeah, I played dungeon games on the Tandy and on the some of the old Texas Instruments PCs, where it would be like it would just describe to you what's happening. It would be like you come upon a split in the road, and left is a dark forest, and right is a nice sunny walk along a stream. Which direction do you want to go? And you're like, well, the dark forest sounds dangerous. I'll go to the stream. And it's like you slip and fall in the mud and you drown in the water and you die. And then you got to go back and, well, okay, I got to go to the dark forest. But none of it was graphical. So this was like taking those old school games of, the adventure that you have to imagine in your head what it looks like and where you're going. And it provided you some graphics to go along with that. But you still had that mostly text element with interacting with your world. And I think that's kind of cool. This is kind of like a nice piece. Space Quest 3 was a really nice piece of like the progression of video games and where it was getting to. And that's why I kind of say that Space Quest 3 was kind of peak Space Quest. I didn't like how 6 looked. When I was like, yeah, Space Quest 6, and then I'm like, oh no, wait, that one's horrible and I hate that one. Just even the art style, the old school style that Space Quest 3 has, just it has a special place in my heart.
Well, for me, my first text game was Leather Goddesses of Phobos.
Okay, I'd never heard of that one.
Uh,
It sounds
Well,
Sounds a little sus.
Actually, like all jokes aside, it could be.
Yeah.
The game had selective, kind of amazing for the time. It had you could be a boy or a girl playing the game.
Okay.
And the game did, like, there were variations in the text, and there were degrees of how naughty you wanted the game.
Oh.
Like, you could play with nothing major, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the game in and of itself is more like a Flash Gordon or what was Barbarella's movie? That was the name, Barbarella.
Yeah.
Sorry. So it was more like that level of naughtiness than anything else.
Well, as long as it was Flash Gordon and not Flasher Gordon.
Flesh Gordon is the name of the Flash Gordon softcore knockoff.
Oh, okay.
Which I only know because of
pop culture reference. Pop culture relevancy.
I don't own Flesh Gordon and Flesh Gordon 2.
Jeez.
Who would? There
was a Flash Gordon or a Flash Gordon game, which was kind of like a Doom style shooter, but not really. Called Roger Ramrod back in the day, and that was like an inappropriate game for kids. Don't play it. I might have mentioned it in one of our earlier episodes because it's just like the funniest thing. Like it was Roger Ramjet was like the actual character,
and then
Roger Ramrod was like the softcore knockoff,
which just goes to show, Rule 34 has been around for a long time.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, it's just everybody's. There's definitely a lot more people out there that are a lot more twisted than I think I could ever be.
Like the internet just made it so we could find it easier.
I love the humor though. One of my one of my favorite things is the play on words that people have with taking something that's a totally innocent IP and being like, well, if we just tweak a couple of the letters,
if we just change
it's not so innocent anymore.
It's not so funny.
I find it hilarious.
Right, but back to the game.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the graphics and art. I mean, it's pixel, it's very DOS, it's very
1989.
It's very chonk, right? But it still conveyed the environment well. Points of interest were still there. Oh, excuse me. It looked neat, and it looked like a real world that you could sort of exist in. I'm not going to give this like a 10 out of 10 because it's not a 10 out of 10.
No, be honest. Be an honest critic.
For the standards of the time, it's easily a 6.
Yeah.
Easily a 6. I mean, nowadays it wouldn't even get a 2, but it's not fair to take it and force it to exist in the world of like Unreal Engine 5,
No, I think too when you talk about game releases in 1989,
we were just kind of getting a grasp on 3D Spectravision, like.
Well, we had like Final Fight, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We had Mario. We had Prince of Persia, which we kind of spoke about Prince of Persia using rotoscoping, right, for the animations.
Yeah,
and none of those games. Oh, we had SimCity as well in 1989 version.
Oh, well, that's funny.
But yeah, so we had games with Castlevania. So we had a lot of games that didn't rely on text-based interactions with the world. Now, most of those games were console. Let's be honest. Those were a controller, so you don't have a mouse and keyboard. But Space Quest 3 was kind of one of the last in the era of games that did text, Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna give it a solid 6 because that was at the time. This was really well done. It was interestingly designed. Everything was visible. It wasn't great. It wasn't reinventing the game envelope. It wasn't pushing hardware too hard at the time. So I can't go much higher than that. But it worked. It was really good.
What did you think about the music and the audio?
The music was cool. Like, the music felt synthy. It felt good.
Very retro.
Super retro.
Yeah.
My guy.
I mean, at the time, I don't think it would be considered retro, but now it sure is.
Now it sure is, yeah. But more importantly, it was good, right? Like, MIDI sounds at that time were very limited in what they could do, and they're also very limited on the size, right? You could only really have maybe a 15, 20-second looping clip. So it would get repetitive very quickly.
Yeah.
But somehow, this felt good. It felt like it was just fun. The sound effects, on the other hand, were so annoying.
Oh, yeah.
The gunshots The
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally 8-bit sound.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
that I disliked.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna cut the difference here. I'm gonna give it another 6.
Okay. And I think that's fair. I mean, I think again, we had games in 1989 that had much more interesting music and audio engineering and much more interesting sound than was delivered in Space Quest 3. So I would agree with that.
Yeah. Which brings us to gameplay. Gameplay. This is a solid 7.
Yeah.
For me. The game was interesting. The game had a lot of joy to it.
I like how the mouse stole your staff.
That rat, man. I got mugged by that rat 3 times before I figured it out. 4 times if you count the time I had to reload.
Yes, yeah. Or that time you slipped off your shift and broke your neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what inspired the reload. Kind of hard to play the game with a broken neck.
Yes.
So no, and that's another thing. Your deaths were funny. Your deaths, when they happened, you would have a moment of like, what the? And then you would just recover and you'd move on.
Yeah. Did you get a hole shot through you by the laser?
Yeah, by the robot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it literally the hole is shot like through your
Yeah,
body.
it's like,
oh yeah, like you're dead.
you're dead. You're dead.
Dying is actually fun in this game.
Yeah. And it's very punishing in the sense that if you have not saved, guess what? There are no checkpoint systems, nothing like that.
Yep.
But again, this was understood for gaming at the time, which led to what is known as the save scum. You would just keep saving and reloading and saving and reloading, right? This was how you played these games. That was kind of understood for the time period.
Yeah.
So it's not the worst.
Yeah. But did you have fun?
I had fun. I'm going to
'Cause-
give it a solid 8. It's an 8 for fun, guys. If you're going to play it, and I do recommend you play it, I recommend you play the entire Space Quest series. You have to understand that it is a window into an era that we no longer use.
Mm-hmm.
The way it handled games, the way it handled certain problems that come up in game design were very unique to the time and the technology.
Yeah, they just don't make them like they used to.
No, absolutely not. And I don't believe we've lost anything. Like, I think overall gaming is better now.
I would say thank God they don't.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But it is cool to look back
Yeah.
and see how they solved the problems that come up in game interface and game design.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it. And just because it's old doesn't mean it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of joy and honesty in these games that we've lost a little bit.
In order to know where you're going, you need to know where you come from.
Yeah, exactly. And it is a joy. It is a general joy. I'm sure, like in almost every game, or any long-lasting game series, eventually it fell off. I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
But
That's why Sierra disappeared.
Well, Sierra disappeared for a lot of reasons.
Mhm. I mean, they couldn't keep up. They didn't have the kind of budgets.
Yeah.
And they couldn't keep up with the times when it came to
Yeah.
the different genres that were emerging.
And they made a few unforced errors.
Yeah, and a couple of really bad games.
Yeah, a couple of robot games.
Yeah.
But, the Sierra, especially Sierra at the time, was a real go-getter, and they did a lot.
I think Sierra suffered from what Marvel is currently suffering from, which is death by sequel.
Yeah, because they did, Space Quest, and Police Quest, King's Quest, the Leisure Suit Larry series, the Dr. Brain series. Like
it's just death by sequel.
They just ding.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Fair enough. So your general rating averages out to 6.8.
That's very fair for this game. I would give it a 6.8 every day.
So when it comes to tossing it into the fault or
catapult this.
Is it? We're going to
catapult
This is a catapult
it?
I'm happy to hear it.
A small caveat, like it's a catapult because it's a really good look at gaming history. And I think that if you're serious about gaming and if you really think that, I'm a gamer, you should look at these. And not because, you should play the classics. You should play the classics, but you should play the classics because it gives you a better appreciation for what we're at now.
Yeah, I agree. Space Quest 3, in my opinion, is the best entry of the Space Quest series. I'm maybe a little biased, but I remember it being, when I played it, it had the best graphics, the best sound, and the best gameplay and fun of any game I'd ever played at the time. So there was a time, and now I was a child, but there was a time when I would have rated this a 10 out of 10 game and been like, you have to play this. You would be insane not to play this. And now, as a person who's played tons of games since, I still would say Space Quest 3 is a game that if you want to have a little fun and revisit what games were like in the past, definitely go play Space Quest 3. It's one of my favorites. It'll always be one of my favorites, regardless of any shortcomings it may have as an old retro game.
Hey, amen, man. And again, old is not bad. Retro is not bad. So yeah, check it out. Check it out.
Just don't bother with Sherlock Holmes' Mystery of the Mummy.
Yeah, please.
I mean, it's free, so do so at your own risk. But
yeah, I mean, you're not losing anything.
Yeah.
And I guess that's it. Thank you all very much for joining us as we forayed through the basement again.
Yeah, it's a little chilly in the basement today.
It's a little chilly, but fall's coming.
It is.
What's next month?
Well, I'm gonna end up heating up the basement because I've got my Fix-It mug, and I'm going to be playing Satisfactory all night long.
All night long.
Yeah,
I have a Fix-It mug as well. And I might be joining him on a mutual server.
Oh, let's do it.
Done.
Yeah.
Deal. All right.
Cool.
Thanks for joining us. This has been Aaron.
This is Trevor.
And good luck.
Have fun. Don't
die. Boop, boop, boop. Love it. That was fun. Thank you.
That's always so fun. Yeah, I was surprised you never played 3.
And that's our time. And the end of our episode.
But don't feel sad it's over. Be glad it happened. From the two of us in the basement, thanks for tuning in.
Join us next time.
And feel free to send us any feedback on our socials or send us a direct email at bfcpcontact@gmail.com.
And if you're really interested in what we're doing, join us on Patreon, where we will have loads of behind-the-scenes stuff and uncut takes as more episodes are released. Patreon.com/basements, faults, and catapults.
We're always excited to hear from you because we love engagement. We look forward to our next catapult launch and hope you can join us for the ensuing chaos.
Good luck.
See you next time.
Shall we call it a wildlife refuge or a menagerie, perhaps?
Okay. Fair enough.
A farm park of sorts.
I see.
A place where animals are viewed.
I mean, that's pretty non-specific. We could be talking about Jurassic Park at this point.
Yeah. We could be. We could be talking a lot. Anyway, this particular exhibition, I have the source up, and it's really quite funny.